We're joined by Belinda Roberson. She's the executive director of the YWCA of Northwest Louisiana. Big event tomorrow called Facing Race, and it's being held in conjunction with Black History Month. Describe the event, Belinda, for us. What are y'all hoping for the event, and who's invited?
Thank you for inviting me today, Erin and Robert. Facing Race is a community forum that gives everyone the opportunity to come together and talk about racial issues in a safe environment. During the event, we're going to show 2 TED Talks, one by Brian Stevenson and one by Renee Mitchell. They are on the topics of race. The discussion will be opened and facilitated by John Ratcliffe and Dr. Linda Johnson. And we're hoping that people will be able to engage in an open conversation that they normally don't have.
Does open conversation mean like white people would normally be scared to say?
Absolutely. White people and black people that they don't say, that they may be thinking that they don't know about. They're going to have you'll have the opportunity to share what you think about it or what's happening in your life to other people.
Big thing about this, and I like the way the focus is, it's going to be at the Highland Center Church on Olive, correct?
Correct, at 5:20.
5:30 tomorrow evening.
Yes.
The big thing about it is if you keep an open mind and go in with that frame of mind, because it's not about I'm right and you're wrong, or win or lose. It's about let's all at least have a dialogue, correct?
That is correct. And yes, it'll be at 5:30, but the address is 520 Olive. Okay. And what happens with race is that people get in their own bubble sometime and they say because I don't use a certain word or because I'm nice to people that racism doesn't exist. Well, what they don't think about is institutional racism or the school to prison pipeline or the healthcare disparities between races. So what we do is we bring you together and we start sharing stories. The TED Talks are used just to start the conversation.
The what talks? I'm sorry.
TED Talks.
TED?
Yes.
Like the little bear?
No. These TED Talks, they do. In fact, they do them about self-driving cars. They do them on many, many topics.
Yes.
So this is just another example of how I'm just an old guy and out of touch.
Yeah. School to prison pipeline you mentioned when you just said that.
Yes.
And that is something that a lot of people don't realize, that is a huge problem in the African American community, correct?
Yes. Kids, the policing system is being used to do a lot of the work that used to be done with our school system. Kids are introduced to policing and the prison system at an early age. So that is a problem. That's a huge problem in the black community.
And earlier and earlier, younger ages now.
Pardon me, in a town like Shreveport that is majority African American, in a town like Shreveport where you have a black mayor and black representation on the city council and a black police chief and a lot of black cops. How does that translate to institutional racism?
Again, you're looking at it from an individual perspective, saying that individual is not racist, but we're talking about how a group of people are being treated versus how an individual person is feeling about themselves.
If Chief Crump were here, what would you say to him about the prison pipeline?
I would say to first start by learning the facts about institutional racism.
And do you think he'd agree that it exists?
I think that he would research it. And part of that is studying what's going on in the school systems, looking at the number of African American children being handled by the policing system, and then start there. I don't know if he would necessarily agree with me or not until he actually looks at the facts.
Or Dr. Gorey, would he agree with you? As the superintendent of schools in charge of Caddo Parish Schools, would a black man agree with you that he's in charge of a system that funnels the children he's in charge of to jail?
Again, I would say to them, look at the facts and then start there. I can't say that they would agree with me or not because I don't know what they would say. But all I'm asking is for you to be aware of it, that it happens. And then as you learn more about it, to do something. Let
me ask you this on that kind of that same subject. When you talk about that school to prison pipeline, a lot of us also want to know, well, what's the answer? And we may say that, there are way more African American kids growing up in a single parent home. They have lots of economic issues that maybe the white children don't. How do we get back to that, to where we answer what's going wrong in the home so we don't get to that school to prison pipeline?
That's a great question, Erin. And the way that we do that is by having the conversation. First, you need to know about it. You need to know the facts. You need to know what's happening. And what the community forum, as well as Dialogue on Race, our 6-week group where you can sit and talk to people of other races, does is it exposes you to stuff that's happening in the community that you may not be aware of. And then once you have the information, then we can talk about solutions to make our community better.
At the end of tomorrow evening's get-together, what do you hope black people take away? What do you hope white folks take away? And is it the same thing?
Yes, I hope that they both take away that there is an opportunity to have a discussion where they don't have to feel threatened about talking about race. So that is, for me, that's the key part, is that we sit and talk. We're not intimidated. We're sharing our ideas. We're sharing our experiences. That way we can talk together about solutions. So I'm hoping that this is the start of a good conversation.